Daryl. Chris is from New Jersey. He's a frequent caller. We appreciate him. One time, the best moment so far was when you called and your phone line got clipped because New Jersey, like mob, it's like Sopranos. You associate New Jersey, and then one time we were talking, he just completely cut out. And it was just as we were talking about the Sopranos, which was crazy because it seemed like the last part of the show. But you called back. You were okay. Anyways, Chris, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris from New Jersey.
Kyle, that could be a future shirt. Chris didn't get whacked. And maybe free mic and free mic in the back.
Oh, what you got today, Chris? Go ahead, man.
So a tiny rant, and then I'm going to go positive. So I don't know. I'm sure you saw the interview with Caleb Downs.
Yes.
And listen, I've said to you multiple times on the phone, in the chat, I don't fault these kids for leaving for the money. I've said it over. We don't know what their financial situation is. I've said it, but I'm gonna something that doesn't sit well with me. And I think you and I chatted about body language a couple times, but when they say somebody, you're asking somebody questions and they look down or they look to the side and they're not being truthful. Caleb Downs, they're talking to him about, why he went to Ohio State. Everybody in the chat and I implore everybody, go watch the interview because it's pretty short. He immediately looks down. And he says he went because he wanted to get a better development at Ohio State. Kyle, come on, man. Yeah. He went for a big bag of money. So I would say, listen, I don't have a problem with this. Just be truthful. Yeah. By the way, you're a golfer. I liked your video. That nice swing, by the way.
Thanks.
But they were giving everybody such a hard time about going to the Live Tour for taking all this money, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, like the Mickelson, they crashed him, but the one guy that they left alone was the long hitter, what's his name, DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Why did they leave him alone? Because in the very first interview, he goes, "I came for the money." He was honest.
Yeah.
He goes, "This was a financial decision for me and my family."
Yeah.
He came clean immediately. Yes, I went for the money.
Yeah.
And but notice after that, he was the only one basically they left alone completely because he came clean. So there's my little rant. Come on, you went for the money. Let's just be honest about it. No problem. We've moved on, but so now let's go a little positive. My favorite player on this entire roster is Tyler Booker. He's king of the hill.
Yeah.
Number two, obviously, from you and I talking at nauseum about how much I thought he was going to change the tide for the Tide, was Ryan Williams. But now a close third to those two guys after that interview with the two coaches, Noah Carter.
Yeah.
I have Will Anderson 2.0. That's my prediction. See, I told you I was going to turn this positive, Kyle.
Yeah. I think that, the first thing is like about Caleb Downs and, him going to Ohio State. I mean, I read an article the day that he hit the transfer portal. It said that he received 122 calls from different universities. Pretty much. That means everybody. Like, everybody called him. Maybe it wasn't every single university, but maybe like full court press from big time programs, right?
With dollar amounts.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Kind of their packages, right? What we could present. And you saw how crazy Ohio State went in the transfer portal. What's going to be amazing is Ohio State is going to learn what Texas A&M learned. And they're doing every single thing that they can to stay at the top, right? Or at least kind of within that like top 8. And they probably will, right? And it's a good program. I mean, they're up there. But it's not going to equal a championship. I don't think Ohio State is going to win a championship this year. And I think that Jimbo Fisher learned that at Texas A&M. because I mean that roster was loaded with so much talent, but they weren't able to put it together from a schematic standpoint. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen
Kyle.
to Ohio State,
100%.
but on a bigger level, because these are more notable players, and they probably spent more than Texas A&M did. I want to say, I have no idea, but yeah, can you imagine?
I bet you they did.
Right?
You're right.
Okay, so my point being is that you can't necessarily buy a team, and I think that they're going to find that out. And look, it's an arms race, 100%. I think that the interview with Caleb Downs. I mean, I don't even think the kid's 20. I mean, you saw I have a teenager here, so a lot of the decisions that my son is making is because of the people that are around him. We're helping him make those decisions. Can he make his own decisions? Is he responsible for what he does and the actions that he chooses to do? 1,000,000%. But there's people in the background coaching him, helping him, right? And I think sometimes we're at a point in the world of college football, whereas the people that are in the back are chasing kind of the short-term NIL deals. And look, Caleb Downs is going to go to the NFL and be a multimillionaire. And the 3.5 that he got is nothing compared to what he's going to get in the NFL. So things are going to work out either way for Caleb Downs, but I get what you're saying. It's like about the money. And look, I'm sure those are difficult, things for him to even talk about. I can't even imagine being like under 20 and being asked about financial, questions. I mean, people don't like to talk about that, regardless of your age, especially that amount of money. So yeah, I saw Tennessee spent $8 million on Nico.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, that certainly exists.
Wow.
I mean, and who knows what Julian Sang got too. I mean.
Oh yeah, I bet you he got probably the same amount. That would be my guess. So, and of course he hasn't done an interview, or if he has, I haven't seen it.
And they got Judkins too, right? I mean, Judkins basically just wanted.
Yeah, he wanted 2.2.
Yes,
right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, and Lane Kiffin was like, but Lane Kiffin is added up too. I mean, he's loaded up in the transfer portal. So, I mean, they just got the Washington guard as well. I mean, I think he did the best job in the portal, Coach Kiffin.
Yeah, Walter Nolan, and
they got. I mean, a ton of guys.
Did Evan Stewart ever sign? I never did see that.
Where did Evan Stewart go? Why are we forgetting this? I know Trey Amos is going to. Hey, undefeated. Where did Evan Stewart go? They'll know in like 2 seconds. Oregon. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Oregon. You think he went there? Yeah. What do you think he went there for? The bag, right?
For a big sack of cash.
for the bag. Yeah, and then look on the.
But you know what's interesting about Evan Stewart that we talked about before any of this mess ever happened. Remember when I used to call and it was calm before Saban retired. We talked about he complained. Yeah, he called. He mentioned that he never got paid the full amount that he was promised at Texas A&M. Which is very interesting.
Yeah, and I think that was.
I'm wondering if that.
Yep, 100%.
If we're going to see more and more of that at some of these programs, if Alabama promises a kid a certain amount of money, he's going to get that amount, which that's good. And listen, Ryan Williams got a giant sack of money. I'm happy for him. I love that suit he had when he got Mr. Football 2.0. But we're keeping this thing positive. But we both said. If they sign, if Bama gets Ryan Williams, that means NIL is right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that the next portal. I want that defensive lineman from Michigan. That would be like the total reversal for Bama.
Yeah, I think I think clearly Alabama needs to go to the portal and look at offensive line and the secondary pieces. So we'll. That'll be fun to track. That's what we're going to talk about right after. Can you imagine that? Be like, because A-Day happens, and that's April 13th. And then you're like, okay, kind of review A-Day and stuff like that. 2 days later, guess what? Portal. So that just basically takes us. It's good for us in terms of like creating content because we just ride the wave into to May. So if you thought you could take a little break after A-Day, no. Like it's going to be wild. And I think so far. he's done a really good job in terms of the transfer portal. I'm talking about Caleb DeBoer not being he didn't have to rush,
Oh, yeah.
and he knows about the next portal window. He's done a really great job managing this so far. Overall, I really think so. You want to make a final point?
One last thing,
yeah,
Kyle.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what you did last year at A Day. Well, you got to do it this year. I pray you can do it. Is when you went down on the field and all the players were down, like signing autographs or whatever, and you went like basically up to each one of them, and and you're like, oh, look at the line for Milrow, and that was great, Kyle. You got to do that again, man.
Yeah, you know what? I think that was for media day during August. I think that's when it was, but basically,
right,
like the players, and I'm sure this will happen again, but Coach Saban's in the center. So Kalen DeBoer will be in the center, and then flanking him is basically all the players, and then you could just go up and interview the players, or not necessarily interview, but people were getting autographs with them, and I just went down the whole thing and was just doing that. So yeah, I will definitely do that again. That was really fun. I think that showed, the excitement level from the fans, like getting inside Bryant Denny and being able to interact with the players. I think we'll definitely do that again. But I appreciate you calling in, Chris, and thanks for calling in. Always
always great talking to you.
Yeah.
Always thanks so much for having me. Keep up the wonderful work, and roll Tide, everybody. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, man. Take it easy. That was Chris in